Hello everyone, welcome to BikeWale. I am Prateek and this is a brand new Hero Xtreme 125R. Now as the name suggests, this is the most affordable Hero Xtreme you can buy in India. And the bike that you see here is the top end variant. It has been priced at 99,500 rupees ex-showroom. There is another variant which is priced at 95,000 rupees, and the difference between these two models are that this one gets the single channel ABS system, whereas the base variant gets the CBS system, which is basically the integrated braking system. Now we are at Hero's R&D facility just outside Jaipur, and to be precise, we are at their handling track. So like the name suggests, we are testing this motorcycle today, sadly only at the handling track, because we just have 15 to 20 minutes with the motorcycle. So in this review, we will only talk very limited about this bike. We'll talk about the design, we'll talk about how the motorcycle performs in various corners, and we will also talk some bit about the engine. The detailed review, well, that will come when we get this bike in Bombay. We'll ride this motorcycle over like 3 to 4 days. We will test for fuel efficiency, we'll test for city riding, highway riding, and we'll do a lot more. But today is just going to be a short review. So before we continue, please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to BikeWale.
Hero motorcycles usually sport design languages that is meant to attract a wide range of consumers. But with the Xtreme 125R, it is clear that the brand wants to capture the attention of India's youth. The overall styling language on this Xtreme is quite aggressive. It all starts from the fascia, which by the way looks highly inspired by the famous Kawasaki Z1000. The angular headlamp unit, muscular fuel tank that is flanked by sharp tank shrouds at the bottom, and also the sharp tail section makes this motorcycle looks extremely sporty and aspirational. The Xtreme 125R also sports LED lights all over, but there are a few things on this motorcycle that doesn't feel right. For example, the rear tire hugger. While it does add a bit of mass at the rear, the design and the quality looks cheap. In the features department, Hero MotoCorp has managed to perform really well, and that is because it has equipped the bike with some first in the segment features. Now this Xtreme gets a single channel ABS. This isn't a standard equipment, but the brand is offering this safety equipment under a new variant. The base model gets CBS as standard. The headlight, tail light, even the turn indicators, all are LED. The rear tire is also the widest in the segment at 120/80. Almost all 125cc bikes get a 110 width tire at the back. Some credit also needs to go to the new 125cc engine. Now this motor is brand new, and a lot of focus has gone into making the low and the mid-range quite usable. This motor makes 11.4 bhp at 8250 rpm and peak torque of 10.5 Newton meters at 6000 rpm. Now the company claims that 90% of the torque comes in quite early, and due to that, it becomes easier for the riders to use it daily in the city. Sadly, we had a fast handling track to use, and majority of the time I was at the higher rev band. Here, I could feel the motor behaving well and could continue to perform well if used for longer duration. The overall refinement and NVH levels are quite decent. The 5-speed gearbox was easy to use, and the clutch felt light enough. But the actual performance of this motor will be known when we test the bike in city conditions and not in a controlled environment like the Hero's test track. During this ride, there was one thing that kept bothering me, and that was the front brake. There's a bigger disc, yes, but there was barely any power and feel from the lever. We were told that it could be because of the continuous use of the brakes at high speeds. The actual consumers will be riding into the city, and the braking performance in those conditions will be completely different. For the last few years, Hero MotoCorp has managed to crack one major aspect of its motorcycles really well, and that is the chassis. As a result of this, the overall handling performance of some of their bikes like the Xtreme 160R and the Harley-Davidson X440 have impressed us to the core. And it is the same story with the new Xtreme 125R. While I couldn't spend more than 15 minutes on the Hero's handling track, it was more than enough to understand that the Hero Xtreme 125R can handle really well, be it in the tight corners or flowing through some of the chicanes. This Hero motorcycle could manage all of it easily. The front is agile and quite responsive too, and as a result, it was super easy to turn the bike the way I wanted to.
Now it's time to give you a verdict, but right now, today we are not going to give you a full verdict of this bike because we haven't really tested the way we always do, but we will obviously summarize the new Xtreme 125R for you. Now, there are a couple of things I really liked. Firstly, when you look at the overall design language, when you look at the overall proportion of the motorcycle, it makes you believe that it's not a 125cc bike, it is from a much higher, like say a 151cc segment, and that's a good thing. Now, if you look at the bike from the front, it will remind you of the Kawasaki Z series. The front looks very aggressive. It has very lot of sharp lines, and to be honest, it's pretty good for a segment which is basically 125, where the motorcycles are usually plain, boring looking bike. But this particular motorcycle really adds a lot of flavor to that segment. The other thing I really liked about this motorcycle is how it handles. I mean, 15 minutes, we did about 5 to 6 laps. This motorcycle handles really, really well. I mean, over the last few years, Hero has been getting their handling aspect extremely right. First was the Xtreme 160R, now the Harley Davidson X440, and now the Xtreme 125R. I mean, if you look at the way we are riding, we are on the third, we were literally going for it in every particular corner, and this motorcycle really behaves well. There is good response from the front, the grip from the tire is decent, and to be honest, I was actually very surprised with the overall handling aspect of the bike. Now, the engine, well, it's brand new. I've mentioned in the early part of the video, we have just ridden the track, so we were usually at the top revs of the tachometer. So we'll actually tell you the overall engine performance when we ride this motorcycle in the city, because majority of the customers of this particular segment, they're usually going to be in the initial revs or maybe max in the mid-range. They are not obviously going to keep going at 7,000, 8,000 RPM, because fuel efficiency, by the way, it's still very important for this particular segment. Talking about fuel efficiency, the claimed fuel efficiency of this bike is 66 km to a liter, and which is pretty good, but again, it's claimed. We'll get you the actual figure when we test this bike in Bombay. Now, there are a couple of things I didn't like about it. Firstly is the front brake. I mean, there's no feel, there's no power, there's no bite. The rear works fantastically, but the front, well, I mean, maybe it may work in the city, but definitely it's not working when you're riding very, very fast and aggressive. The other thing I didn't like about this motorcycle is, I think Hero should have got this bike in certain very attractive paint schemes. I mean, this one looks decent. There is one in the blue as well, but I feel a 125cc, premium commuter motorcycle needed to have something more aspirational. I mean, the design is perfect. It looks great, but I still feel they should have launched a motorcycle with lot more paint scheme. Now, coming to this model, 99,500 rupees. Like I said, we are not going to tell you whether you should buy the bike right now. We will tell you when we get the bike in Bombay for a lot more days. But what I can tell you is, if you're in the market for a 125cc motorcycle, or maybe in a 150cc, 160cc motorcycle, but you want a bike that looks highly aspirational, it has a design language that will make you feel good and also has good road presence, well, you should definitely consider the Hero Xtreme 125R. But again, this is just a short initial review from whatever experience we have. We will tell you the full detailed review on BikeWale very, very soon. So stay tuned.